With that mix, I'll make sure that whatever we do with the standing, that it's very clear what you can do seated as well. And I thought that I'd introduce a little bit through these times with the disruptions and everything going on. There have been many practitioners of many varieties who have stepped up and have been providing little touch points and daily support for people, whether it's those of our neighbors out on the streets trying to protect those who have been most at risk or those staying home. And so I thought it'd be nice to also have this be partially an example of the sort of things that I've heard people are providing like that. And so the beginning is going to be seated. You can choose to lean back, though I will invite you to have whatever position you're in be one that you can bring your feet fully to the floor in a moment. And so as we get started with this, if you if it would feel supportive, you can close your eyes, or you can choose to have your eyes be open, at which point I would invite you to have your eyes rest on something that's simple, not too distracting. Maybe lower your gaze or even try to soften your gaze a little bit, letting it almost go a little blurry, which can happen by keeping your gaze forward, but attempting to see what's in your periphery. And whatever you've chosen, for a moment, just really feel your seat and where you're sitting. If you're standing, if you're moving around, really feel your feet, feel as they land on the floor or as they land in the chair or couch or seat. Noticing one new detail or nuance that you don't normally notice if you have a practice like this. And then whether you have your feet on the ground, if you do, let's all notice that connection with the ground. And for a moment, maybe even pressing your feet slightly into the ground a little bit more. Feeling the muscles that activate, maybe noticing the balancing muscles on the other side of your legs, noticing how your back and your core start to engage to support this movement, feeling the physical strength that you have in your body, feeling that stability that your body can create as you sit here, safe, gently pressing into the floor. And then with an exhale, let's relax those muscles, noticing if any of the muscles try to stay active, especially in the back or in the core, and maybe taking one intentionally deeper breath, letting the abdomen soften and expand more than usual, and then letting it relax on the exhale. The last thing we'll do of this variety is bringing our thumb and index fingers to touch. So left thumb and left index finger, right thumb and right index finger. And let's begin to gently rub our fingertips together, trying different amounts of pressure, of pressing together or barely gliding across the surface until we can start to feel the ridges of our fingerprints. And if your mind has been scattered or it's been juggling too many things, it can take a little bit of time for enough of the attention to hone back in here, to start to feel even the most subtle experience of those tiny ridges on our fingertips. And you can tie that through to the next few things that we do. You can stay with this if it's feeling really calming and restorative for you, or you can let it go, because everything in this are ideas. So take what serves you, leave the rest behind. The intention is to bring an increased sense of safety to the nervous system, and also to remind us of being able to tap into our inner strength and to support our stamina for moving forward. We're going to shift into focusing on the breath, and then we'll add a little more movement. With the breath, a lot of people know that an exhale is calming, but you can have many different breath ratios of up to 4 different parts of your breath. That being the inhale, gently holding your breath in, the exhale, and gently holding your breath out. And for this, I'm just going to guide through a little bit of the inhale, that gentle or subtle pause at the top, and then an exhale, because this point across the top is really nourishing, really strengthening and energizing for the nervous system, for the physiology of the body. And so it can be really helpful if you're starting to feel like you're dragging, you can't get your energy up, but you have things you need to do. And so with that, we start with an inhale. And as we're holding it in, I like to imagine that we're a hot air balloon floating after we had the air come in with the flame. And then we exhale, and that's releasing some of that extra air out of that hot air balloon. We inhale, rising the hot air balloon. Exhale, we're floating at that height, we float at that height, and then we exhale. And as you do a practice like this, noticing that I didn't give any specific times, I didn't give any count, you can feel into what feels comfortable with this. And really, the only guidance I would give in timing is that letting the exhale be a little bit longer than the other two, as many people have been starting to hear, so that we have that grounding within our body, within the present as well. And now we're going to do something where you can stand up or you can stay seated. It's going to have an arm or upper body component and a lower body component. And so for those of you who want to stand up, this is where we're going to stand up. And as you felt in pressing into the legs, when we activate our largest muscle groups, which are in our legs, that increases our metabolism. So it creates more energy that way, as well as feeling that strength, that stability in our body, and helping bring our minds and our awareness back into the present, into our body. If they've been running off with everything that's been needing to be taken care of. And so if you're standing, I now invite you to step 1 foot forward, 1 foot back. If you like to be told with which foot, step your left foot forward. And we're doing a bit of a lunge here. I'm going to ask you to try to keep that heel down, which will be a shorter position for many people. And if the heel comes up, try to keep the extension of your leg like you're reaching the heel down. And as we do this, both standing and seated, the arms are going to start either over the heart or palms together in front of the heart. We have both legs long if you're standing, sitting a little bit away from the back of your chair. And as you inhale, we're all going to open the arms. Standing people are going to bend the front knee, going to pause and float. And then we exhale, bring the hands back to in front of the chest and heart, lengthening the leg if you're standing. Inhaling, we open up, bend the knee if you're standing, and exhaling, we bring the hands back in front. And now listen closely. We're going to inhale here, and we're actually going to exhale, bend the front knee. We're going to keep that knee bent and inhale, lifting the chest in your gaze, pausing and floating with the inhale. And then we'll exhale, lengthen the leg, bringing the hands in front of the chest. We inhale again, and we exhale, bend the front knee as we open the arms. Some of you may even want to reach the arms out on the inhale, and then we exhale, bring the hands back together or resting on the chest. We'll step the feet together if we're standing. Pause for a moment. We'll do the other side, and then we'll continue on to the rest of the meeting tonight. So let's step that second foot forward or the right foot forward. And even though we're now getting the second side, since the arms are symmetrical, you have the option to go right into those wider arms, and you can always change the position if something else would feel better for you. And so we're here, front leg is long. We start going in and out in the same breath. So we inhale, bend the front knee, open the arms, whether we're seated or standing, and exhaling, we bring the hands together over the chest as we lengthen the leg. Inhaling, bend the front knee, maybe lift your gaze. Exhaling, lengthen. Together. Now we stay for the inhale, and then we bend the front knee on the exhale. Inhaling as we stay and we float with that full hot air balloon. And then we exhale, lengthening the leg, bringing the hands together. We stay for an inhale again. And we exhale, open the arms. If you're seated, maybe you feel your core engage or you press your feet into the floor. We're inhaling and floating with that full hot air balloon. And then we exhale, lengthen the legs, palms together or resting over the heart. And we'll step the feet together. And we'll do one last forward fold or back stretch. If you're standing, it might feel good to bend the knees and round forward. If you're seated, you just sit a little further forward on your chair, glide your hands down, getting that stretch in your back. And taking 2 breaths in this position, imagining that you can fill up that hot air balloon into the back of your body with those breaths, getting a little more oxygen into the back of the lungs, as well as getting a little bit more of a stretch into the muscles in the back. And then we'll come back up to sitting up tall or standing up tall. And if you're still standing, you can come back down to be seated. And that is the little flow for tonight. For a quick little summary, started with really feeling our seat where it is or our feet where they are, feeling that support, and then actively pressing the feet into the floor to get a reminder of the strength in our bodies. And then we really honed in our attention onto our fingertips, which takes so much awareness that everyone's brain has to hone in. And so it stops whatever spiraling might be going on, whatever juggling for a moment. And then the last thing we did was this opening and closing. I did not directly say it, but often when we do that, we get a little back stretch, chest lift. That's really helpful when we're sitting and working at our computers or on tablets or phones. And with the movement, I built it up so that we then moved on the exhale. And that again is very grounding, reminds our physiology of the strength of the body, of the presence here, and adding that gentle floating like a hot air balloon at the top of that inhale for that energizing bit. I always describe that as a practice or an asana for confidence because that's grounded energy. And now you experienced a couple of those different practices that you can do as a flow because the recording will be up, or you can do them separately throughout any day. Again, thank you so much for having me. You all do incredible, incredible work, and I am grateful and honored that I can come and support you a bit with this. And
Thank,
I don't
thank you,
know who
Em. Yeah, thank you for presenting tonight. Sunava,